Like many people, I spend a lot of time online. I love how the internet is like a never-ending rabbit hole of information and entertainment. I believe the new term is edutainment. It truly amazes me what you can learn on the World Wide Web. I learned from one such piece of edutainment that the male is the life giver and the mother is the carrier and the nurturer of life. As a mother, this really resonated with me as to what my responsibility is to my children and in life in general. The way we carry life is clear, but I had to dig a little deeper into what it really means to nurture life. By definition, to nurture means to care for and encourage the growth and/or development of someone or something. I believe that every good parent truly wants their child to be successful, and I'm no different. While I'm not perfect, I have always considered myself a good parent, doing my best to care for my children and encourage them to be the best they can possibly be. Then, I stumbled upon another article that made me think again and reconsider exactly how I am encouraging my children's success. I stumbled upon this article and read it in its entirety. The article, written by Rachel Macy Stafford, called 6 Words You Should Say Today, mentions the findings of a survey where college athletes were asked what their parents said that made them feel great, that amplified their joy during and after a game. Their overwhelming response was, "I love to watch you play." Rachel goes on to write about how that one sentence, "I love to watch you play," made her really think about the words she used to encourage her own children and how sometimes the most well-meaning words of encouragement can seem more critical. As I read about this mother's experience, it caused me to reflect deeply on how I encourage success in my own children. I knew when I had my children that there were so many things I wanted to do differently as a parent from how I was raised. Filling my children's lives with an abundance of hugs and loving words, encouragement, and support were just a few of my commitments. This was very different from my upbringing, but I was certain I could do it. I started with little things like always saying I love you when I sent them to school and hugs at bedtime. But like most people, there were those moments when the voices and actions of those that raised me came through me before I could even realize it. Some of my most challenging moments as a parent, where I felt like a total tiger mother, have been during moments of encouraging my children to be their best, when I probably should have just let them be. Thank God, children are resilient and forgiving and unconditionally loving. Thank God for that. As my children head into their teenage years, I'm still learning how to find the balance in encouraging them to be their best and allowing them to be who they are. Even as much as I struggle with this, my blood family encourages me to be stricter and will support me when I do so, while oftentimes shaking their head at me when I choose a different approach. A close friend of mine said something to me that I will never forget. He said to me that maybe if I wasn't so hard on myself, I wouldn't be so hard on others. Whoa, talk about an arrow straight through the heart. No one had ever said that to me before, that I could remember anyway. And it really caused me to take a step back and think about what my words were creating in my children. In November of 2012, I attended the Motivating the Teen Spirit workshop with my children and their father. Created by Lisa Nichols, one of my favorite authors, it is all about encouraging teens to fall in love with themselves, communicate more effectively, and empowering parents. My hope was that it would help us communicate better as a family and teach my children how to open up and communicate their feelings, something I have encouraged them to do, even if they think it will make me upset. Easier said than done, I know. At my age, I still have trouble communicating my feelings, especially to my parents. My biggest fear is that my children will shut down communication with me or secretly or openly hate me and grow up to be one of those adults who can't be successful in life all because of their mother. I have given up believing that being a good mother is something that should just come naturally and submit that learning how to get this thing right might actually be necessary. There was one very important lesson I took away from the weekend workshop. This lesson was illustrated with a clear crystal bowl of water, a container of oil, and a 2 liter of Coke. The bowl represented the pure spirit that all of us are born with. Then the facilitator proceeded to pour the container of oil into the water. The oil represented all the crap that other people dump onto us with their words and all those negative experiences in life that block our true spirit from coming through clearly. The visual is amazing with the oil sitting on top of the water. Then she proceeded to pour the Coke into the bowl, which sat on top of the oil. The Coke represented all of the junk that we dump onto ourselves as a result of the crap that was dumped onto us by others. The whole thing looked like a self-esteem parfait. The experiment really hit home with me, and it proved visually that we are all still that same shining spirit underneath all of the crap that gets dumped onto us in life. The last part of the experiment is what really opened up the floodgates for my tears to flow. The facilitator began to pour more fresh, clean water into the bowl. What happened next brought me to tears with the hope it represented for my family. As the water was poured into the bowl, the oil and the Coke were displaced, overflowing out of the bowl, leaving behind nothing but pure, clean water. This represented the power that positive words and life experiences have to cleanse and renew our soul, revealing that pure light being we were when we first came into the world. I cried because for the first time, I felt like there was hope for me and my children. I knew I couldn't undo the mistakes of the past, but this experiment provided proof that there was hope for the future. Adding positive words and experiences was something I could definitely do, and now I know if I do it enough, I can see those bright, loving beings that I brought into the world so many years ago. There are moments when I have real talk with my children. This is when they are free to talk about anything, say whatever they want, exactly how they feel about anything or anyone, including me, with no fear of getting in trouble in any way. During some of these moments, my children have expressed that even though I can be tough at times, they love me, and they know that I love them. I tear up with overwhelming relief that my love is still getting through to them, despite all of the other junk. I also now know that encouragement doesn't have to be forcing or critiquing or pushing my children to be better. A simple phrase of acknowledgement of how I love the person they are is enough to make them feel free to be the best person that they can be.